188 DC Pro. We're going to work on the lighting a little bit. See if we can. That looks a little better. I guess I'll do without my hat. I'll move this out of the way. Welcome, everybody. I thought we'd come out to the boat this evening. It turned out to be a beautiful day. It didn't start out beautiful. Paul and I had some gnarly wind coming out of the southwest that eventually went northwest on us. But we caught some fish. We had a pretty good morning. We got 2 limits plus of walleyes this morning. We didn't keep any of them. We let them all go. I had 2 fish over 20 inches. Had a 21 and a 22 this morning. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I wanted to do something tonight. I was going to go through my rod locker. I've got a couple rods I got to set up. I switched around some reels the other day. And I figured we'd take a few minutes. I'll go through my rod locker with you and give you an idea of what I'm using, what I'm throwing right at the moment. And talk a little about my JT rods. I saw a meme the other day on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, and it said, I remember a time where everything I currently have I once wanted, and I am grateful for it. And that hit me like a wrecking ball. And I stopped, and as I sit here in my boat, my new boat, it's less than a year old. As I sit here and I'm getting ready to pull out a whole rod locker full of amazing, extremely high quality, fantastic rods to fish with from JT Rods, one of my amazing sponsors. My Starcraft 188 DC Pro is from my sponsor from Smokercraft Starcraft Boats USA. Dakota Lithium batteries. This boat's fully rigged with Dakota Lithium from another great sponsor. I just got home from work in my truck from Bob Johnson Chevrolet, another great sponsor. So I am very grateful. I am very, very grateful for everything. Nothing's free. Nothing comes without a cost. I've worked very hard at what I've been doing for the last 5 years. I'm very proud of where I am. I don't say that enough, I don't think. I don't let myself feel that enough. I constantly am always working towards the next thing. And the problem with that mentality sometimes is we don't stop and truly appreciate and feel the gratitude for what we have, what we've wanted, and what we've gotten. And it can't only be about what's next. If you spend your whole life looking forward, you never appreciate the now, and you're always in that state. That's what creates anxiety. That's what creates those feelings, because you're never here now. You're always forward. You're always looking out there at the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And it's no good for you. You've got to stop and appreciate. And when I saw that meme the other day, I said to myself, I really stopped me in my tracks, and I am very grateful for everything that has come my way, that I've worked for, but everything that is coalesced and has come down and has come my way. I couldn't be more grateful. And every day when I come out to my boat nowadays, unlike my old boat, it's easy to take it for granted because I just turn the key and go. And in the old days, I walked out of my house to my dock, and there was always that trepidation. Was the motor going to start today? Was there going to be a problem? That's what happens when you have older stuff, whether it's a vehicle, a boat, it doesn't matter. to be sitting in this position, to be sitting in my beautiful boat, talking to you guys, people that are extremely important to me. I'm very grateful for every single one of you out there as well. You know, it's easy in this YouTube world to just think, oh, it's all about the number of subscribers. It's just about subscribers. Hey, listen, I'd like to have 100,000 subscribers tomorrow. But that's not the point of it. I've got people that have been with me since day one here that I still talk to on here. You know, I have so many people that reach out to me on a daily basis, that check in with me if I haven't posted in a couple days. And you can't know what that means to me. I know what it means to me. I know how important all of you are to me. And I am very, very grateful for every one of you. You know, Walleye Fest. I just started talking to my web designers the other day. I've kind of taken a hiatus from that for about a month. After everything was put to bed for this season. There's more to come this year. But I am very grateful. We've had over 2,000 people fish Walleye Fest in the last 2 years. I am very grateful for that, and I want more from Walleye Fest, and I want it to be bigger and better and yada yada yada. But I'm very grateful for what it is and what we've already done. You know, and today is my Monday gratitude day. The weather sucked this morning. It was miserable, but you know what? My buddy and I went out. We spent time together. I'm grateful for him as my friend. I'm grateful for the time that him and I get to spend together every week, and we mark it on our calendars, and it's an important event that we both look forward to. I'm very grateful for that. And, you know, again, today is my gratitude day. I'm going to rephrase that. Today is the start of my gratitude days, because I really need to do that and feel that gratitude on a daily basis. You know, I need to get up in the morning and be grateful that I'm awake and I'm alive and my feet are touching the ground and my lungs are breathing air. You know, I'm grateful that I get to go out every morning, and even if it's for a little while, even if I don't catch shit, pardon my French. A couple guys made comments on the YouTube video for the morning report this morning, and because I said it was my first limit of the year this morning. In hindsight, that's not true. I was thinking about it today, and I had a limit that day. I was throwing jerkbaits with Eric Wisniewski, and I've had a couple other ones, but it felt like it was the first limit I'd had this year, because the last couple weeks have been a struggle for me. I haven't put a pattern together. I haven't put a location together, and I'm finally starting to do that. It's just a matter of time. But I had a couple guys say I should take up golf because, you know, this is your first limit of the year. You suck and you should take up golf. Or the other guy said, what'd he say? Oh, it's not hard to catch a limit on a night, he said. It must be he does it whenever he wants to, and he's the best. Superman, right on. I love it. Have at it. Do your thing. I don't need you talking to me like that, I'll be honest with you. But man, you have at it. You do your thing. And if it's so easy for you, then great. You should be doing this and telling everybody how you do it. And showing them all your spots so it's easy for everybody. We all know that that's not going to be the case, but anyway, I got off track. But I've also learned from Walleye Fest, I'm grateful for everybody, even the haters, because if those two guys watched my video only to comment on it that I'm the worst and that they're better than me, they still watched my video. I still got credit for them watching it, just for them to tell me that they're better than me. Super. We all take our turn, my friends. So, in the spirit of gratitude, I'll show you one of the things I'm most grateful for, and it's my stash of JT rods. And it's a constant evolution for me, working these rods and fishing them and figuring out what they do and how they do it and what I want to do with them, and how I want to do it. So let's start off. I rigged up a couple the other day. I switched a few things around. I put some reels on some different stuff. But I'll start off with my 4 mainstay rods. We'll start right there. We'll start with my jigging rods. This is the 6'9" JT Rods Black Rain. This is a medium action, extra fast tip. This was a killer today. Now this has been doctored up. This isn't how it comes out of the package factory. This is the big magnum size shiver minnow. That's dimpled gold. That took both my big walleyes at the end of the day today. I don't normally throw something that size. I normally throw the smaller one, which is, give or take, about that big. All right, but I hammered them in that shallow water today. You can see, just like I showed you guys last year during swim bait season, that is I've been using these paper clip style, speed clip style snaps for most everything. There's some things you can't, like you can't put a blade on there because it doesn't fit in that opening. You can't put that on. Some stick baits you can, some you can't. If I can put this on a lure, I do it because it comes through the water nice. It's symmetrical. It doesn't throw it off left or right. So I like it a lot. Now, so for this rod, this is typically, this is one of my jigging rods, but it's not my blade rod. This is kind of I'll jig everything else with this. Shiver minnows, yes. All of the glide baits, doesn't matter. The Northlands, the Rapalas, doesn't matter. I'll throw it on this rod. I throw bucktails on this rod. I throw other jigging products on this rod. It is set up with I have a 3000, this is a 300, but it's a 3000 series Lew's Hyper Mag. This is spooled up with 10-pound yellow Cortland master braid. And then I tie, I don't know the name of the knot I tie. I don't know if it's the Alberto knot or not. See that? That's my braid to fluorocarbon knot. On this rod right now, I'm running about 4 feet of 12-pound Cortland top secret fluorocarbon. So that's number 1. So that's, like I say, that rod is always usually starts the morning out with some sort of a glide bait or jigging minnow on there, like a jigging wrap, a shiver minnow, something along those lines. That's typically what I start out with what's on it. I can switch that around a little bit, but next up, this is a 6'3" Black Rain. I have 2 6'3s. These 6'3s, now this one is not rigged up for a blade right now. This is rigged up with a lighter leader. This is the Northland Puppet Minnow. This is a PMD 4. I like the 4. The 5 is a little big, but I do like the 5 as well. This is rigged up very similar to the rod I just showed you. This has got a 4000 series reel on it, which I've got to get some new reels. And when I show you one of those reels in a second, I'll tell you why. But this is a little heavy and it's a little big. It doesn't balance this rod out great, but it loads the back end of it, so it does snap pretty well, actually. And this 6'3" rod is short and fast. Now, this is my blade rod, and if I had 2 people in the boat, I would have rigged this up with a heavier leader. and put a blade on this and giving them that to fish with. Right now I've got it rigged up with a jigging minnow, same 10-pound braid, same 12-pound fluorocarbon, and this is about 5 feet. Now, typically I like that 6-9 to if I'm really snapping those jigging wrap style baits, because that extra 6 inches of length in that rod, to me, I really get a good snap and that tip goes whoop, and it kind of flings it up in the air off the bottom. And I think that's a trigger, so that's why I like that. This rod as well, right now, the way it's rigged, could fish anything. You could put any type of jigging bait on here you wanted. It wouldn't matter, and it's ready to roll. You've seen this guy many times. This is the 7-foot JT Rods Panhandler Ultralight. This is my swim bait rod, although this year I have done some different things with it. And we were talking about reels and the weight of reels. So this is a Cast King Kestrel 1000, okay? That's a 1000 series reel, but it's got a full-size handle on it right here, so I can get my hand underneath there and I'm not cracking my knuckles. I typically fish it up here like this anyway. And right now, this is rigged up with 6-pound Cortland Master Braid and 6-pound Cortland Top Secret Fluorocarbon down to another speed clip. This is a VMC twist lock swim bait head, and that is a Kitech. That is a Kitech, what, 3.8 fat swing impact in smallmouth magic, which is an exceptional color. Now, some things I've done with this different this year. I have been fishing this when I've been fishing super lightweight jigs, 1/8 ounce or less, or when I've been fishing a Ned rig. And also, I was fishing live bait on this rod with a Northland short shank. What do they call that? It's the Northland, the jig head. I forget. Real short shank, Fireball. It's a Northland Fireball jig, short shank, and I was fishing a crawler on it in an 1/8 ounce and a 8 ounce and 3/16, along with the Ned rig. And this is so light, it's so sensitive. These lines, this super line transmits, even on the fall, it will transmit that bite, okay? This has been a lot of fun this year already. I had somebody suggest to me, one of my friends with JT, that maybe I throw the hammer rig on this. I'll get to that in a second. I've got another rod that's been doing that and been doing it exceptionally well. I talked about the weight of that other reel, that 4000 series reel. This whole rod and reel combination right here, rod, reel, and line, it weighs less than 9 ounces. All right. That reel alone weighs about 5.5 ounces. Listen, I'm getting older. No way around that. My right arm is a disaster area, and my right shoulder shot. So I have to be very mindful of what I'm fishing. And some rods that I have that are heavy, bigger actions, I'm kind of getting away from because my shoulder just won't take it for very long. So next of my first four, these are my top four in my lineup. This is my baby. This is my blade rod. This is the same thing. It's a 6'3" JT Black Rain, medium action, extra fast tip. This happens to be a gold black scale I1. I did not catch anything on this. This is what I finished up with. I caught fish on a homie this morning, as far as blades go, and There's another one. There's another one that I did pretty good on. I took a couple fish on this morning. I don't exactly know what you would call this. Sand pike, sand perch, something along those lines. This was good this morning. And I used this because if you go back and look at this morning's morning report, my buddy Paul was using that new glide bait, and it had a dark back, had a light belly, or light sides, and then underneath it had a real pale creamsicle orange color, and it was hot. He smoked them on that. That you can go find out at apps. Talk to Rick. It was the Euro Tackle. I forget what the name of it was, but he's got them. That's where Paul bought it. He's got them. So with this rod, again, I've got a 300 series Lew's Hypermag. I've got 10-pound test Cortland Master Braid. Now, this rod is my blade rod. I don't change it. I don't fish other stuff on it. This is just for blades. Now, I've got a 3-foot piece of 20-pound test Cortland top secret fluorocarbon leader material. Why do you use such a heavy leader, Matt? I'm going to tell you a couple things. First off, if you go back and watch the video I did with Captain Mike Urema, owner of I1 Baits, a couple years ago, Mike goes into great detail about the whats and whys of the system of getting your blade out there. I hear all the time, I don't fish those blades. I can't get them to work. They always foul up. I was in the same boat early on. I really was. Couple things changed, and a couple things changed for me, and one of which was when Mike told me that this heavy 20-pound test line acts like a rudder once that lure is in the water. Now, what I do, and I do this every single cast, it's just part of what I do. I believe in repetition. It helps me in my scatterbrain sometimes to do the same thing the same way. So I cast that lure out, and I'm watching it fly through the air, and I'm physically watching that arc. And before it hits the water, I catch my line like that with my finger, and I stop it in midair, and it goes boom, boom, and it hits the water. Soon as it hits the water, I lift my rod tip, and I feel brrr. If I don't feel that, it's already fouled when it hit the water, and I reel it in. If I go brrr, as soon as it hits the water, then I let it go. I close my bail, and I let it pendulum swing all the way down to the bottom, and that heavy line acts as a rudder. And nothing's 100%, but the majority of the time, if I've done those first two things, by the third time it gets to the bottom, or by the time it gets to the bottom, my third thing is my first lift, it's active. Now I'm fishing. Now I know I'm working. So this rod stays in this configuration all the time. I don't change it whatsoever. Let's take a quick peek. I'm 25 minutes in. Let's see who's here. Chris Bryan, what's up, my brother? Michael. Sorry, I got a terrible glare, guys. Just bear with me for 1 second. Michael, we're going to just say Michael. How are you? Don Terry. Carl Lamana. Carl Lamana says, gratitude for right now is true prosperity. Gratitude changes everything. Amen. Jim G, what's up, my brother? Michael Hoover, how are you? Mike Urema, I've been in Green Bay for the last 10 days. What did I miss? Probably nothing, but what did we miss? How was Green Bay? Carl Amana, make gratitude a way of life every morning. Absolutely. Joshua Pilon. Hello from Boonville. Hey, what's up, Boonville? Merlin Johnson, the Wiz. Mike's chiming in saying that was a sandpike color, which I thought. Tom Frazier. What are we fishing for, anglers? Well, we're talking a little bit about everything, just stuff in general, nothing specific. I got some walleyes this morning. I'll be back walleye fishing probably for the next 5 or 6 days straight. I'm going to switch over to trolling. Next Monday, we're going to do a trolling live. I've got a couple friends of mine I'm going to reach out to and see if they would like to be a part of it. We'll do a little round robin trolling discussion for a night of lake. Some of the trollers have really been beating the crap out of them lately. And I've got some customers next week. Not really customers, more like special guests next week before the fireworks. I don't know their fishing skill level, so I'm going to make sure that I control and hopefully just hand off rods with big toothy walleyes on them. Sorry, I'm parched. Kevin Stone, what's up, Chief? He says, Matt, try fishing a Walleye Nation death rig. Curious how you do with this lure. Chief, is that similar to that new that search bait that who came out with that? Acme? Kalen's? I see Danny Diamond had one. My buddy Paul bought one. He did catch a fish on it. I'm not super familiar with what that is, Kevin. Bill Morey, what you doing, buddy? Mike Urema, Green Bay was some of the toughest walleye fishing I've ever experienced. Tons of big eyes in the system, but they are so full of money. No, that must be mayfly. Mayflies that they are tough to convince to bite. Wait, they are so full of monies? What the hell? What's a money? Add a mayfly hatch and it was tough. Kevin says, yes, Kalen's. All right, then I have seen that search bait. I don't own one yet. Although when I saw it, I thought, boy, that'd be pretty moon eyes. I should have known that. You're only off by one letter. Yeah, moon eyes, alewives, big greasy minnows that fish love, and they fill up on them quick. Yeah, I haven't tried one, Kevin, but my first thought when I saw Paul's that day he brought it on the boat was you could make yourself something like that fairly simple with some weight, maybe a spin and glow or a smiley blade, and take it from there. A weight forward spinner like an Erie Deary or something along those lines, with a crawler on it, whether real or fake. I know a lot of guys up north throw those Erie Deary little tongue tied. I know guys throw those Erie Dearies with live crawlers on them, and with a various accoutrement of either swim baits or straight tail worms, curly tail worms, grubs, you name it. You can do a little bit of anything with them. You know, that flash is what's attracting them, and you can scent up plastics to where I have fished some bait lately, and part of my trolling program, I'm going to switch every day the rest of this week and go troll harnesses one day and then troll stick baits and lures one day. We'll see. The big thing right now is out there is trying to find an area where you can keep your lures clean and free from debris. Yeah, Kevin says great combination between a jig and spinner. Midwest guys seem to love them. There's no reason why they won't work here. I've seen it work in my own boat. Like I say, Paul had one the other day and caught a fish on it within the first 10 minutes he was using it. So I don't doubt that it'll work without question. All right, let's get back. I've got 4 more rods in the rod locker. We'll run through them quick, and I'll go through them. So I have 2 rods that I have set up for jerkbaits. This is the JT Black Rain 7'3" set up as a bait caster. I currently have 12-pound fluorocarbon on this straight. And I do use this as a jerkbait rod. I have 2 of them set up because if you're going to be jerking a long time, no pun intended, I know that sounds funny to say, but if you're going to be jerking it for a long time, for me, I got to switch arms, because I can't, to do it for 4, 5, 6 hours, I can't, it just won't take it. So I switch up because I fish this with my left hand. So now I can switch this reel to a reel with braid on it or mono on it and use this same rod for topwater, amongst other things. This is a new one for me. I've yet to fish it. So JT Rods has something called a snare rod. They make it in a bait casting configuration or a spinning configuration. And it was designed by the owner, Joe Bricco, specifically for live bait presentations. They even make the snare series in an ice fishing rod. And it is specifically for live bait presentations. And the way the parabolic curve is on this rod, those fish don't feel that backbone of the rod or the tension of the rod, because the tip is very soft and it's meant to bend like this. They don't feel it until it's too late and they've moved off with that piece of live bait. So what I plan on doing, so there's a story behind this. I was trying to get an 8-foot snare rod for set up for spinning. Currently, JT is out of them. They're waiting on components to build some more of them. So I said, okay, no problem. I talked to my buddy Terry Wicks. Terry's also another JT guy like me, and he had a 9'2" snare rod, and that's what this big behemoth is. Now I have a lot of ideas for this rod later on in life. This is the 9'2" JT Rod snare rod. I currently have this rigged up with a slip float down to a little egg sinker, which gives me a great forward-facing sonar return. From there, I go to a small micro swivel, and then I've got about 3.5 feet of 8-pound fluorocarbon leader down to a jig head. Now, I currently have a plastic on it, but that's only because when I was messing around the other day, when I had this set up rigged on another rod. The problem was that these eyes are so fine and so small for casting performance that even with the absolute smallest, that is a rubber bobber stop, okay? That's the smallest one I could find, and it wouldn't go through the eyes. So I called up the owner of JT Rods, Mr. Joe Bricco, and I said, Joe fishes multiple tournaments, walleye tournaments, every year. He's a very accomplished angler, besides being a rod designer. And I said, Joe, I want to cast slip bobbers. What rod should I be using? And I told him what I have, and he said I could use my JTX, my 7-1 mag light. But he said the snare rods were specifically designed with larger eyes for that. So this is something that I want to start doing for myself. And I did it the other day. I was looking around, and it's just using forward facing sonar or your regular, it doesn't have to be forward facing. You could just be driving around with your regular fish finder on, and as soon as you run over a fish, you know, and you're marking it with your transducer at the back of your boat, you throw the boat in neutral and you pitch this right over the back. You could put a crawler on it, you could put a leech on it, you could put a plastic on it. I guarantee you these plastics will work, whether it be this one or another one. You can juice them up with scent, but this is something that I'm looking forward to doing now for the rest of the summer. I have yet to try this. I rigged it up last night, and that's still in the works. I haven't even used it yet. Speaking of that mag medium light, here is my JTX 7'1" mag medium light. This rod has all the backbone you could ever want to set the hook on something out there. It's sensitive. I fished Ned rigs on this. I have fished small eighth and from eighth to a quarter ounce jig heads on here with finesse jigs and you name it, with small bucktails. It's extremely sensitive, but I have this rigged up right now to be my hammer rod. Now currently I have a jigging leech on here. I've had good success with this on there. I've had good success with a regular crawler on there. I've tried some other soft plastic baits on here with a little less success, but you know, it still works. This rod, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's nice and light. It's very well balanced. I've got a 3500 series reel on here spooled with 8-pound test Cortland master braid, straight down to a micro swivel, and then I switched this out and I put paper clips on both sides of that. Now you're going to say to me, why, Matt? You notice how that paper clip doesn't have any exposed edges? You notice how there's nothing there to catch the weeds going through? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be weedless. You throw this in the weeds and you come out with weeds. That's the way it is. You know, when you want to fish the hammer rig, you've got to also be mentally prepared for every cast to lift it up out of the water and clean it off, because there's eelgrass especially is a mother. Not a good mother, a bad mother. It is a pain, and it just winds up in there, and that eelgrass will get in the clevis right there. It'll get in the clevis, and it won't let that blade spin correctly. It's a pain. This has got enough length, not that you typically launch these spinners great distances, and especially not with a live crawler, because you're going to throw it right off. But I will tell you, I really can get this out there with this rod when I'm using plastics and I Texas rig the plastic on there. I can cover a lot more ground, I can tell you that much. So, and this is my first year with that rod. So far, that has been a home run with that rod. Now here's that rod's big brother. This is the JTX 7'9" mag medium light. So your black reins are medium action. Your JTXs come in mag medium light, mag light, and light. And then my swim bait rod, that panhandler, that's an ultralight. So this rod, you could do a lot of things with it. What I do with this is I throw, this is my main jerkbait rod. And everybody has their own preferences. For me, the size of this rod, and I'm standing either up on up on the bow or the rear casting platform, so I'm a little higher off the water. I point my tip down like this, and as I'm retrieving it, I'm bump 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 bump. That's my cadence when I'm fishing a jerkbait. I don't have to work this rod very hard for it to snap that jerkbait like this. And it really does an excellent job. And if one of those fish, bass, smallmouth, largemouth, walleye, whatever, when a fish hits that, especially when it's on slack line, it rests with a jerkbait. This big rod, it doesn't take long to move that line and set that hook. You know, with a shorter rod, you would have had to reel into them and then come back on it. This rod, I don't have to. Now, this is one of the ones I have to set up still. I re-spooled this reel. I had this with, I had 12-pound fluorocarbon on this rod as well, just like I have on my other, on my bait caster. I did not like the way my jerkbaits performed with this rod with that line. Too much stretch. I don't know. I just didn't like the way it felt. It felt slow. So I'm going to leave that bait caster set up with the 12-pound fluoro, and I'm going to put this one back to my braid, and I'll put a 5 to 6 foot leader off it with 12-pound fluorocarbon. Nothing super fancy nor super long, but this is again one of those. This has been a delight to fish this year. That day I was throwing jerk baits with Eric Wisniewski. Eric also throws jerk baits on a spinning rod. I'll be honest with you, it's easier, in my opinion, and I'm very proficient with a bait caster. I've fished them for years and years, all my life, you know, but this is just simpler. It's faster, and I like it. And again, fishing's preference, guys. What I like, you may not. What I do, you may not. What you do, I may not. And the beauty of that is everybody's right. There is no wrong. There is no wrong. There is no wrong. There is no wrong. And there is no wrong in fishing. Fishing is theoretical, and there are 1,000 ways to skin a cat, or in this situation, to catch a fish. I don't get into it's only in this spot and this color, this I don't believe any of that. And if somebody tries to tell me there's only one way to do it, I stop listening, because I know that you're trying to tell me a story that I'm not going to believe. So 45 minutes, that's a long time. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Anything anybody wants to talk about? We got a few more minutes before I get out of here. My lovely wife is making dinner, and this wind is still not calmed down yet. It is right here because I'm on the north side, and I got some houses blocking me from this northwest wind. But if you look across the river, she's still blowing pretty good. I don't know what the wind's going to be like tomorrow, but don't matter. Like I say, I knew at 4 o'clock this morning when I woke up and I heard the wind howling and the flag in my backyard snapping. As soon as I saw the wind direction coming out of the west, I'm like, it can do whatever it wants. It doesn't matter, because you could fish all the way to the islands this morning and you're only in 2 footers. It wasn't bad. It was blowing like a son of a gun, but it wasn't. The waves weren't bad. All right. Well, I think that'll do it then for today, guys. I want to thank everybody for joining me on this beautiful evening out here in the sun and going through my rod locker with me. If any of you are looking to add a JT rod for your first or another one, please use my code. Get yourself a few bucks off. It'll take 10% off. The code is Awakening Angler, and you put that in right at checkout. If you have any questions, if you want anything custom made, Declan is the man to speak with when you order your rod. You can custom order different colors if they don't have it from the factory. You got a number of different things you can do, and he's extremely talented. So if you don't see something you want or a color you're looking for, or you want something special, just give him a call and he'll take care of it. So, all right, everybody, have a great evening. We started out the day, tonight's show, talking about gratitude. I'm grateful for 45 minutes with my friends and my family, my extended people out there scattered around the internet. I thank you all for watching. Listen, if you want to subscribe, please do. We have a ton of content. We're constantly putting out content. We got other stuff in the works. We're just getting rolling here. So please, if you want to subscribe, I'd love to have you. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Be grateful. Be grateful for something in your life. Be grateful for life. How about that? That's a simple one. Everybody can do that. Oh, Mama just said dinner's ready. See you guys. Keep your tip up.